Today I am creating questions and doing answers for a simulated polygraph test about ICC SSP, memory recall on the polygraph, as well as ET contacts, CT abductions, and military abductions. So that's the nature of the questions and answers for my simulated polygraph test. And this will be yes or no questions and answers. I don't have test results for it. It is only my voice, me asking the questions and my answers. It's my voice in the test. It's not an official test. There was no polygrapher involved in it except myself. So it's just a simulation of what type of questions and answers I would have a professional do if I ever did a polygraph, which I won't be doing because apparently it's a bad idea and it was not a good crowdfunding idea either, so that was terminated, but that's okay. Before I start the simulated polygraph test, I would just like to describe the first set of questions that are usually asked by a polygrapher of the person doing the polygraph testing. It's usually, again, yes or no questions. The first one would be, what is your full name, full and last name, date of birth, your age, current location of where you live, and have you ever taken something? Have you ever lied about something? Those are the standard types of questions that are usually asked to get direct answers of whether you're telling the truth or not. Because usually on that stuff, you don't lie about your name and your age and date of birth and where you live. You just don't lie about that type of stuff unless you have something to hide, like really hide, or, you just are straight out not for telling the truth. Usually you pass on those questions because nobody lies about their name on a polygraph. Like I said, unless you have something really to hide or there's something very dangerous in your past, then you wouldn't want to take a lie detector test in the first place. In most countries like Canada and the US, you are not legally obligated to take a lie detector test at work. And it's not always admissible in court either. So you're not, there are laws protecting you against taking lie detector tests. And it wouldn't be so easy to create a polygraph test questions for SSP ICC stuff. It took me a long time, about 2 weeks, to create these questions. And then I did about 5-6 edits on them before I thought I had a final copy. So it's not an easy thing to do. But I thought I would do it for just an experiment because I like experiments. I like researching stuff, and I like setting up an experiment. And you get to hear my voice throughout this whole thing and explanations as to the mechanics of how it works. So this is purely for, it was purely for research purposes, for my own purposes, and my own personal interest. It's not an official polygraph test, and these are my own questions that I did myself for this test that I'm simulating right now in a few minutes in the next video. So I thought I'd give an introduction to what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. It's for my own purposes as a demonstration of how I would set it up. And if I ever did one, that's the questions I would give to the polygrapher. I had 30 questions. Usually there's only 20 and there's only 3 topics, but I have 4 topics because I've experienced a lot of stuff and had a lot of memory recall from my time in the ICC and the SSP. And I also have a lot of cellular memories as well, memory recall from my body and my soul that I've explored. So here goes. Hi, so I am going to talk about doing a simulated polygraph test today. with answering yes or no questions to determine if the truth is being told or if there are lies. Now, this is a simulated polygraph test because it's, number one, it's very expensive to do a polygraph test. It costs from anywhere from $500 to $2,600 to do one. And if it's not a normal polygraph, then the questions have to be customized, and that's extra money. It's $500 just to customize the test questions, and another $500 to take the polygraph itself. Because if you're doing a polygraph test for answering SSP, ICC, or even alien abduction questions and answers, the test has to be made customized, made particularly for the subject taking the polygraph. So, and that takes time. And it's also important to formulate the questions correctly. Like, be very specific in what questions you put in. Take only the most important stuff that you remember from your memory recall pertaining to what happened in the SSP ICC. Be very specific, spend time on your questions, because if you want to get the right answers to what happened to you in the SSP ICC, you need to formulate very good questions to get the right answers. It's like this. Ask the right questions and you get the right answers. So just keep that in mind. If somebody ever wants to do a polygraph test about the SSP, ICC, or anything else, it's very customized to each particular person, because not every person has the same memories or experiences being in the SSP, the ICC, military abductions, alien contact experiences. It's not all the same. We might have the same references to names, like the secret space program groups, the interplanetary corporate conglomerate. Those names are all the same, or the ICC orbital space station platforms. Those are common names that we remember, where we got our training, assignments, missions, all that stuff. That's the same, but our experiences could be very different from each other. There might be some commonalities, but there also could be a lot of differences in the experiences that we've had, the memories that we had, what happened to us. So the test won't be the same for everyone. It won't be standard questions that everybody will receive. It'll be very much different for everybody that takes the test. So keep that in mind. And the test is usually divided into 3 different topics. And each topic has to have the same type of question set, like same thing. If topic number 1 is about the SSP and the ICC, so all the questions have to pertain to that. If, for example, topic number 2 is about military abductions and underground secret bases, all the questions have to be about that particular subject. So all the questions in each topic have to relate to that particular subject for which the questions are being asked for. And it's usually yes or no questions. It's usually 20 questions in total. For this simulated test, I have 30 questions and 4 topics, because this is my own test that I'm doing with yes or no questions. I've decided to go ahead and simulate my own test because I've done a lot of research on this, and to me it's an interesting subject and topic, polygraphs, and determining what the truth is and what it's not. So it is important to spend as much time and in as much detail as you can to formulate these questions. I spent a week and a half just researching what polygraph tests are and to how to formulate these questions properly. And then doing them and redoing them, fixing them. I went through 6 different drafts of these before I had this final for my simulation polygraph test. And also, sometimes during the test itself, people could hesitate or they don't understand the question that's being asked of them. So they might not be sure about their answer, or there's a mistake that happens in the question being asked. So sometimes the same question is repeated to the person, so they're given a chance to answer it accurately as they can to have good results on the polygraph. Because people do become nervous during these tests, and that can affect your answers and how you answer it, and it might create an inconclusive answer to the question. So the questions may be asked again repeatedly, and sometimes a person is asked to provide clarification to why they said yes or no to a question, to what happened in the situation, because that yes or no question could be true or false. The reading could be inconclusive as evidence of anything. So you're giving the opportunity to explain your answer in detail and clarity of what happened in that situation. And that's written down and noted by the polygrapher. And it's also recorded on the video and audio of the test itself. So you are given a chance to explain yourself of why you gave that answer to that particular question. So basically, that's how the test works. And it's what they do is they measure your blood pressure, your heart rate, the tone of your voice, the breathing, how fast or slow you're breathing, your body language, the sweating of your palms and fingers. So that's measured. And that's basically your physiological body responses and the electrical responses of your brain. That's also measured, because that all that information is collected on the polygraph machine and the computer itself, and also the polygrapher himself or herself makes little notes on your answers. And it could be yes or no answers to questions, or true or false in your answers to the questions. So here goes my simulated polygraph test to my ICC SSP and alien abduction questions and answers. So test topic number 1. Did you, Ileana, lie to the public about being an ICC asset agent in the interplanetary corporate conglomerate and the secret space program? No. Were you, Ileana, an interplanetary corporate conglomerate asset agent on Mars? Yes. Did you, Ileana, work on the ICC Mars bases or on the ICC orbital space station platforms in space as an ICC asset/agent? Yes. Did you, Ileana, do 60 years and back in the time travel quantum leap ICC/SSP program? Yes. Did the ICC and the secret space programs train you, Ileana, to be an assassin, where you had battle-ready training with weapons using firearms, swords, battle axes, and knives? Yes. Did you, Ileana, ever kill or murder anyone as a trained ICC/SSP assassin? No. And the reason why I say no to this question is because I truly don't remember whether I killed or murdered someone or not. I don't have memory recall of murdering or killing anyone. and I never wanted to do that in the program. Yes, I agreed to the battle ready training, but I never agreed to murder or kill anyone. So to my knowledge, no, I did not ever kill or murder anyone while being an ICC SSP trained assassin. My answer is no. And on the polygraph test itself, that answer might come up as yes, because I truly don't know. My answer is no, but the answer could be yes, because I don't remember. So that's why I'm clarifying my my answer to this question of why I said no. I don't have any memory or knowledge, recall of killing anybody ever in the ICC SSP assassination training. I just don't have that memory of killing or murdering anyone. So that's a no. But on the polygraph, it could show up that I'm lying and that it's a yes, because I honestly don't know. Did you, Ileana, take this polygraph lie detector test today to prove that you are telling the truth and not lying about being an ICC SSP asset? Yes. Do you, Ileana, think you are telling the truth about your ICC SSP experiences and memory recall of events that happened when you were an ICC SSP asset/agent? Yes. Are your, Ileana's, location coordinates from Google Earth of mapped ICC bases on Mars and the Moon fake? No. And the reason why my answer is no is because I remember very detailed location coordinates of the ICC bases on Mars and also on the Moon. I spent hours and hours working on the coordinates of Mars, ICC basis, and the Moon, mapping it all out on Google Earth. I didn't even have any idea that Mars and the Moon actually existed on Google Earth. I thought they only had maps of Earth on Google Earth. So it was quite surprising to me when I did start to learn Google Earth that maps of Mars and the Moon are there. And I started looking on Mars and the Moon and I'm like, oh, I remember these particular geographical locations. I just remember these places on the map of Mars and the Moon. So I spent hours recording the location coordinates of the ICC Mars basis and ICC basis on the Moon. And then I published it in a presentation on YouTube of all these bases. And then that was in 2016. And then in 2016, I spent another couple of weeks fixing the locations because in 2016, I didn't really know how to use Google Earth properly. So the coordinates weren't exact. So what I did was I redid the whole presentation in 2017 of all the location coordinates, and I double checked the coordinates to make sure they were exact on the mark of where these bases are on Mars and the Moon, because I want this information to be accurate and exact. So I redid it, and it's now accurate. So that's the explanation for this answer. As an ICC SSP asset agent, did you, Ileana, lie to the Martian colonists about wanting to help them survive and live on Mars? Yes. And the reason why my answer is yes is because subconsciously the ICC programmed me to lie to the Martian colonists as I was interacting with them, to say that yes, I was liaising with them to help them to improve their living conditions on Mars. But in reality, what I was doing is I was spying on them to collect information of how many colonists there still are on Mars, what their living situation is like, and to report that back to the ICC and the SSP superiors. that I worked for. I really thought I was helping them, that I was collecting all this information on their lives, on their living conditions, so they could be assisted and their living situations could be improved. But it was actually the opposite of that. What the ICC and some of the SSP groups wanted to do was relocate the Martian colonists to the ICC orbital space station platforms and then colonize Mars and take it over for themselves. They wanted to terraform Mars and colonize it for their own needs and the needs of the reptilian groups that they're working with. So they wanted to displace the Martian colonists from Mars on those ICC orbital space station platforms and have Mars all for themselves, for the ICC SSP to build out more bases for that, and to and the reptilians want it for themselves as well. So I was used in order to spy on the Martian colonists, and I consciously didn't know about this at that time. I just didn't. I thought I was helping the Martian colonists, but I was doing quite the opposite. And that data was being collected through my Neuralink implants. It was all being recorded and collated and sent back to the ICC SSP Mars bases to use against the Martian colonists. Did you, Ileana, see humans being made into cyborgs with body parts and technology being fused together on the ICC Mars Base Cybernetic Labs? Yes. I did see human body parts and even human beings being taken as slaves and being abducted and being fused together with advanced cybernetic technology by the ICC Mars scientists on the ICC Mars bases in the labs. And they were doing experiments to see how well technology could be fused with human parts and to make their own slave labor to be used in any way that they saw fit without there being any without having any problems of the slaves not revolting against the scientists. So basically some free will was taken away so there wouldn't be any resistance on the cyborg's parts. And this was creating transhumanism on the ICC Mars basis. Basically taking living human beings and splicing them together with advanced technology to make cyborgs. So that's basically what the experiments were for, to create the perfect cyborgs, living cyborgs made from humans for the ICC, Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, and their subsidiaries on Mars in particular. As an ICC asset/agent, did you, Ileana, infiltrate various groups of humans in order to convince them to start marches or riots, influencing people to follow your lead as a leader and do bad things? Yes. The ICC subconsciously trained me to infiltrate various groups of humans and convince them that I was part of them, that I was part of their groups and helping them to do good things in the universe, on other planets. But in reality, I was influencing them to start marches and riots, to disrupt various meetings, conferences, peace talks, and to go against doing good things and actually do bad things. So that was my subconscious programming in the assignments that I was given, to become part of groups and to get them to do bad things. It's not what I consciously wanted to do, but unfortunately when you're trained as an ICC asset/agent, that's what you do. You just infiltrate groups that actually want to do good and get them to do bad stuff and turn them against goodness to get them to be bad. So that's what happened. And it's unfortunate, but the answer is yes to that. Are there alien, reptilian, human hybrids or other human-looking aliens working on the ICC Mars bases that mind manipulate or subjugate through force the ICC human assets to do horrible things to other beings? Yes. And the reason the answer is yes is because some of the alien, reptilians, and other aliens that are human-looking, they have the ability to shapeshift into anyone or anything that they want. It's just a natural ability that they have to change their shape and to look like somebody else or something else. It's just a natural ability that they have. Or they're just reptilian human hybrids that look sort of human. And there are other aliens that look purely humanoid. There's no difference between them and us and how they look. They just look humanoid. Did the ICC SSP place you, Ileana, as an ICC asset to be trained in Antarctica in order to study the Atlantis outposts there and catalog ancient advanced technology so you would become used to being in different harsh work environments and could be trained to handle different types of job tasks? Yes. Now, I stumbled on reading this question and was indecisive. So, the person answering the polygraph question for this could have misunderstood this because I stumbled as the polygrapher. So I will rephrase this question just as an example. So when I answer the question, it will be clear and fully understood. Now this can happen, and the answer could be inconclusive because I stumbled on asking the question in the first place. And that can happen during the test, and the question is just rephrased again, so you have the chance to give a concise answer. Did the ICC SSP place you, Ileana, as an ICC asset to be trained in Antarctica in order to study the Atlantis outposts there and catalog ancient advanced technology so you would become used to being in different harsh work environments and could be trained to handle different types of job tasks? Yes. Did you, Ileana, see ICC SSP and Nazi active bases while you were stationed in Antarctica as an ICC asset? Yes. Did you, Ileana, travel to other solar systems for training assignments while you were an ICC asset? And did you commit any lethal missions or do any dangerous projects for the ICC/SSP that caused harm to people or places? Yes. And the answer why it's yes is because I do remember traveling outside our solar system and other solar systems in galaxies and being given specific training assignments by the ICC to commit lethal missions or do dangerous projects that unfortunately did change people's lives and did ruin places, because the ICC, what they do is they build plasma weapons, bombs and stuff that can destroy vessels out in space, that can destroy planets or cities. And they're capable of building that technology and then sending people out to trade that weaponry for other things like trading routes, where ICC vessels could have the ability to travel in space that's not theirs, that are in space that basically other aliens are living in. But the ICC does trade their advanced weaponry and even medical stuff for trading routes and trading opportunities, and to also colonize other planets. So that's why they do these training missions outside other solar systems, and also to provide weapons training and to create assassin assets for the ICC for future projects. That's what usually happens when they transfer out their assets outside the solar system, or even place them in other galaxies. That does happen for training missions, for assignments, or even to gather intelligence information on other species or even human groups in other SSP programs. Did you, Ileana, as an ICC asset, see any medical pods in the ICC Mars labs that can reverse the aging process to make someone young again, cure any known diseases, and regrow body parts? Yes. Were you, Ileana, given any medical serums or drugs to keep you being and looking young by the ICC scientists for various important ICC missions in alien liaison meetings or assignments? Yes. Did the ICC recruit you, Ileana, as an asset because you are an alien-human hybrid who has classified information about various library knowledge repositories on other hidden planets, and because of your advanced psychic abilities? Yes. Was Lunar Operations Command, where SSP personnel are stationed, built on top of an old Nazi swastika-looking base? No. And the reason why the answer to the question is no is because when I was on the LOC, Lunar Operations Command, on the moon, I remember the LOC as being a circular type, huge base complex that had many levels of offices and also recreation areas that were gardens. And there was these plexiglass type windows in the recreation areas where you could look outside through the plexiglass windows and see the surface of the moon. And the circular complex of this LOC base was whitish gray. Lunar Operations Command was built out on its own as an SSP base. The SSP personnel did not want the energy of anything to do with the Nazis or their bases on the moon, so they built out their own base. Yes, the Nazis did have old bases that looked like swastikas on the moon at some point, but the LOC was not built out on one of those old bases. The LOC is its own separate building that has offices in various levels and living quarters on the surface of the moon, and also various labs and other offices underground of the base on the moon. So there's surface level offices, and there's also underground facilities where most of the laboratories and the experiments happen. Are ICC/SSP assets agents trained to lie convincingly and to be good at manipulating people in order to cover your tracks and get away with lying or committing various crimes without being noticed or punished? Yes. Did you, Ileana, work at the ICC Data Information Centers on the Mars basis, where you were encrypting and decrypting classified materials into the ICC databases and also acting as a communications liaison between humans and the SSP programs and other alien factions? Yes. Were you, Ileana, monitored through video audio intelligence surveillance through the use of nanomaterial ocular implants or etheric implants that were in your brain, recording all of your actions in order to spy on the Martian colonists or other SSP groups and report back your findings to your ICC superiors? Yes. And the reason, as answering the question yes, is because I thought that the nanomaterial ocular implants and etheric implants were for me to gather information on how planets look like, geographical locations, to study new planets, to study different species of aliens, to see how their cultures were like, living conditions. I did not think or even know that I was spying on them. I thought the ocular implants were just to gather basic information about various planets and locations that I'd been to, but not to spy on anyone. Certainly not to spy on the Martian colonists or the SSP groups that have their own programs in conjunction with ICC programs. But the nanomaterial ocular implants and etheric implants were programmed for spying purposes, for me to record all my interactions with anyone I had ever met or worked for since getting the implants, or where I was traveling out in space on different planets. They wanted all the information that was ever recorded on these implants. They wanted it all, and they were inputting that information into their databases. So basically, I was made into a spy without my knowledge or awareness. I was a living, breathing spy through these surveillance implants without knowing about it. These implants were there for me to help me remember better my experiences in the ICC and the SSP. They were there to help me have photographic memory, basically, but they had other purposes that were for spying, especially on the Martian colonists, because the ICC and the reptilian aliens, they wanted to displace those Martian colonists who were there through the beginning of Mars. They were always there on Mars, so they wanted to get rid of them, to put them on space platforms and to take over Mars themselves. So that was a huge component of the surveillance spying through these implants, of me spying on Martian colonists and other SSP groups to see what they were doing, how they were doing it, how much progress they had made in building out bases on Mars, how advanced the SSP groups were, how the colonists were doing, were they prosperous, how their living conditions were they fighting with each other, were they living peacefully, where their colonies were being built, how many colonists there was, were they traveling off Mars to other planets, did they have peace treaties with other ET groups to help them survive on Mars, stuff like that. Apparently I was spying on them. So that's the answer to that, was yes. Unknowingly, I was spying on them. did you, Ileana, come forward to the public to disclose your information about what you know about the ICC and SSP programs in order to give a warning to the world and what these programs do to subjugate people as slaves, and to also expose the atrocities and crimes against humanity that these programs are perpetuating in outer space in the Milky Way galaxy? Yes. Do the Fourth Reich Nazi ICC scientists take human abductees or slaves and take out their soul essence from the body and then transfer the soul essence into the cyborg body to be used as scouts, soldiers, and slave labor? Yes. The answer is yes, because the Fourth Reich Nazi ICC scientists have technology that could literally take out somebody's soul essence, their energy, and put it in a holding stasis tank, like an electrical holding stasis tank, and hold your soul temporarily before it's transferred either into another human body or a cybernetic body that has been augmented. So they have that ability to do that, and they've been doing it for numerous years on the Mars ICC base labs. They have that ability to do that, and there are some German scientists working on the ICC Mars basis, and there's also scientists and personnel that are American and from other countries. So it's a blend of different scientists and personnel. But major emphasis is put on the Mars ICC cybernetic labs to advance the soul transfer technology and to use it on a regular basis. So that's why the answer is yes. So test topic number 2. Were you, Ileana, abducted by the alien reptilians and harvester race being when you were a child? Yes. Did the alien reptilians take you, Ileana, into various secret underground bases in Europe and do genetic experiments and manipulation on you in order to ruin your health or try to kill you? Yes. Test topic number 3. Did the military-industrial complex take you, Ileana, in military abductions and place you in secret underground bases somewhere in the United States in order to train and use you as a living weapon? Yes. And the reason why my answer is yes is because I remember being taken into various weapons testing facilities and also various underground secret bases somewhere near the Sierra Madre Mountains that are near New Mexico and close to Texas and further out from California. That's where this stuff happened to me. Did you, Ileana, see many CERN programs and time-traveling programs in any secret underground bases in Europe and the United States? Yes. And again, the answer is yes, because I have clear memories of being taken in 2 different bases where this was happening in the United States, out near the Sierra Madre Mountains. And this happened over and over again to me. So that's why my answer is yes. And I remember seeing the mini CERN devices where they were working on various experiments with time travel and also opening up Stargateway portals. Were you, Ileana, drowned in water to make you stronger as a fighter by the military programs? And were you trained to mentally augment and make your psychic abilities stronger so you could open and travel through natural or man-made Stargateway portals on Earth or on other planets? Yes. Were you, Ileana, tortured by the mind-control Earth military programs in the United States or in other parts on the planet in order to break you so you would do bad things and commit dangerous acts? Yes. And the answer to this question, the reason why it's yes, is because I remember the military programs trying to make my brain, both the left and the right hemisphere, the same, to reprogram my brain to make it into a supercomputer. So I would be able to do advanced stuff telekinetically, psychically, to be used as a weapon, to literally commit bad things, to do bad things and commit crimes and get away with it. That's what the torture was about, to reprogram my brain to successfully be a living weapon. Test topic number 4. Is there a human dark fleet out in the Milky Way galaxy or stationed somewhere near Earth space that infests its assets with parasitic alien worms or archonic dark entities that enter the human assets' brains to make them cooperative in committing horrific acts of violence against humanity while working with alien reptilians to conquer and take over other planets by force or killing? Yes. And the answer why it's yes to this question is because if the human dark fleet assets are not cooperative, they don't want to do bad things, they don't want to participate in horrible missions or kill anyone, then they're infested with the parasitic alien worms, slugs, or archonic dark entities to make them do bad things and to commit horrible crimes against humanity. And the thing is, while the parasitic worm or archonic entity is doing all that stuff, the human host is very much aware of what's going on. Their soul is still present in the body. They're just put aside and they can't do anything to take back their body. So they're aware of what the dark archons are doing or what the parasitic entity is doing, because the parasites enter through the ear canal of the human host, and a horrible archonic ritual is done to enter the dark archonic entities into the human host through words, through blood rituals, through pain and torture. That's how their archons enter the human body. The parasitic worms enter through the ear canal because they're very small. They either look like worms or slugs, and they are a sentient, intelligent being. They're just very small. They're smart, but they're small, so they need a human host to function. And basically, the human host asset has no free will, while these dark entities or parasites are, basically taking over their body and doing bad things. Once the parasitic entity or the dark archon entity leaves the human host body, basically the dark fleet human asset is left broken, and to deal with the consequences of what the parasite or the archon did while they were in their body. So they're left to pick up the pieces and deal with the horrible stuff that was done against their will, while this hitchhiker was in their body doing nasty stuff against the host's will. And this is done on a regular basis to have the human dark fleet assets be cooperative, while having the parasite or the archonic entity in their body. That having these things enter the human hosts makes them cooperative. And then when the thing leaves their body, they're not cooperative again. They feel very remorseful of what was done against their will, but it was done to break them. So in the future, they'll be more cooperative. And it's a never-ending cycle, unfortunately, that's perpetuated against the human Dark Fleet assets. And the Dark Fleet has many different cities, outposts, and bases in our solar system and outside our solar system. So they have a lot of power, and they use force, and they do kill, because they work with alien reptilians that conquer other worlds and planets. That's how it works. So that ends the portion of the simulated polygraph test. And what I wanted to mention is that our soul has the capacity to remember of what has happened to it, all of its memories, experiences. It's all embedded in us. Whether it was a 60 and back, like what happened to me of being an ICC asset, I've worked on remembering the memory recall stuff of various events, the most important events that happened. And I've put that all in this simulated polygraph test. I took only the most important events, not the everyday living stuff of when I was trained in the ICC SSP, but the most important missions, training, the dark stuff, and I put it into those 30 questions. I didn't put the everyday mundane stuff in the questions, because if you want to get good results, it's important to take the most important questions and events and put it in. Because if you want the right answers, you got to ask the correct questions to get good results, to fill in the missing puzzle pieces. And again, the soul does remember what it ever did or will do. It's part of it. It has the answers to the questions. And if you customize the questions correctly, you'll get the right answers. The soul knows. The higher self knows what has happened and why it happened to us. In these programs, ICC, SSP, military abductions, ET contact experiences, ET abductions, the soul knows what the memories are, what the events are, the experiences, and it'll provide the answers to the questions. As well, our body is a living, bio-living entity and energy of its own. And it has cellular memory. It does have it has a memory of what has ever happened to us. Cellular. It's living energy, living memory, cellular memory. See, and I'm stumbling on this because I have a lot of cellular memory, recall of what has happened to me. And I've been talking for a while, so it's starting to kind of show. But again, the body is a living expression of ourselves as well. It's a living entity. The body is that, and so is our soul. And both of them remember what has happened to us. The cellular memory from the body and the soul energy expression of everything that ever happened. The secret space programs and the ICC, they treat the body as a meat suit. Yeah, your meat suit is good to be used for whatever, training, assassination, you know, it's good to go. It could be trained, it could be manipulated and used. Who cares what you'll remember? Who cares what trauma you've experienced due to being in these ICC SSP programs? They don't really care. They mind wipe you. They can implant false memories into you. So basically, they mind wipe your brain so you won't remember any of what you've done. You won't remember it. You just won't. But eventually the memories do come back. Because it's impossible to keep secrets forever. It's impossible to keep the lies forever. The cellular memory does return. because the body knows what happened to you. The soul knows what happened to you. The higher self knows what's happened to you. It's all living stuff, so it knows, and you know. You regain the memories of the mind wiping. It could be done through shamanic, Native American, soul regression, past life regression, soul retrieval. It could be done through hypnotic regression with a professional. It could be done just by exploring your own memories once you have that training to do it, to sort and sift through all of your memory, what is real, what is not, what is partially fake, what is partially truth, what is clear truth. As long as you take the time to explore it all and to put it in different compartments of what's important, what's not so important, you can access your cellular memory and explore everything that ever happened to you. It's possible. And hey, you could try a polygraph test to see what's what, to see how your body, how your living body with its cellular memory answers these questions. Yes, no, true, false. It could be just a test for yourself to see how your body responds to these questions. And to the answers you're not sure about, you can provide clarification in what you remember that happened to you. So these questions, this was a simulated polygraph lie detector test that I did because I did a lot of research and I was interested in how this stuff works. I have a lot of memory recall. I have a lot of cellular memory and memories that I've gotten back. So I wanted to try this out and to simulate this test. And so I did, and I've tried it out. And it's an interesting experience. And it's good to put it into 3 topics. For me, I did 4 topics because I had 30 questions. Normally it's 20. And again, the testing is customizable to every person because we are all unique and different, and our experiences are not the same. They could be similar, but they're not the same. So be specific in the types of questions you do create for yourself for a polygraph if you want to take one. Make sure it's grouped into each specific topic because it's a specific subject. It has to be, for every topic, it's a specific subject of questions that correlate to that one subject of questions and answers. So that's very important to do. And try to not be nervous during a polygraph, because if you are nervous, then the results are not so good. Because these polygraphs are said to be 85 to 90% accurate, but I think it's 50-50, because it also depends on the person, how calm they are, whether they're nervous or not, whether they have something to hide or not. So, and some people said these tests are not conclusive at all, that they don't really figure out whether you're telling the truth or not. They're designed more for interrogation purposes, to get you to reveal something that you really don't want to reveal or don't need to reveal in the first place. So it's mostly the 3-letter agencies like the NSA, the CIA, the FBI. They use these tests for interrogation purposes. So it's quite interesting. I personally don't know. I've never had this test before. And I probably never will, because I had to stop the funding campaign for it. It was not appropriate, so it was shut down, and that's fine. I decided to try it out for myself and see what happened, and there it is. I certainly did not plan to interrogate myself. That's not the purpose of this test. But I wanted to see how well I could formulate my own questions about my SSP ICC events and experiences and see how I would answer. And something else that's important is that there are voice analysis software these days that analyze your voice, your answers, your yes or no, false or true answers to the questions. And through this voice analysis software, it can be determined if you're telling the truth or if you're lying about your answers to the questions. That's on the polygraph test. So there are other methods of doing lie detection or telling the truth or whatever. It could be done through a polygraph test. It could be done through the eye detect test that measures the size of your pupils in your eyes to see if you're telling the truth or not, or how much your eyes are blinking, or if there's anything else happening in your eyes. And it's all recorded on video and audio. And there's the voice detection software as well that measures the tone, the pitch of your voice. So there's that stuff. So there's many ways of doing a lie detect test. So I thought I'd explore all of that, and thank you, namaste.